I'd like to call the Common Council December 5th, 2022, 5:30 meeting to order. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, please.
Bruce Lechner,
Here.
Tim Sharota,
Here.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Here.
Ron Dunwoody,
Here.
Scott McClory,
Here.
Ken Minell,
Here.
Carol Young. Here.
Next, we have public comment. Is anybody here for public comment tonight? Okay, David, if you just hold on 1 second, I just gotta read it, the thing then, but then you can do your public comment. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes each. The public may speak on any item of the city concern, whether or not the topic is included on this agenda. However, if the topic does not pertain to an item listed on the council agenda, the council is not permitted to address or discuss the matter during this meeting. Under open meeting laws, the council must notice an item on the agenda to allow discussion on that matter. If council is not permitted to discuss If council is not permitted to discuss your concerns, your comments will be considered and may be placed on a future agenda for further discussion.
Thank you. My name is David Crosby. I live at 39 Monica Drive. And I'd like to be read into record tonight also too. I stand in opposition to the rezoning of the Proctor Farm to residential use. The reason being a long-term best land use benefits to the city of Elkhorn of the Proctor Farm is commercial retail as follows. Exposure from the freeway line of sight marketing in the southbound lane at 70 miles an hour on I-43 after crossing the Centralia Street Bridge. The line of sight exposure is 20.6 seconds. Secondly, patrons would have quick access to and from the freeway to a commercial district. This propagates northbound traffic to downtown Elkhorn businesses. This would improve capital streams into the downtown district with results of increased property values, resulting in additional tax revenue to the city. Also, I see no sound studies included in the proposed development plans to support claims of adequate noise suppression for the residents. Further, placing residential next to the freeway carries additional knock-on hazards. This topography creates an echo chamber effect, resulting in elevated traffic noise levels, not to mention 80,000 pounds of semi hitting the rumble strip on the right side of the freeway. Residents shall be impaired from peaceful enjoyment. Next shall be to erect a sound barrier wall that will block the view of Elkhorn to the north. The impression of I-43 travelers shall be Elkhorn exists only to the south of the freeway. This would deter spontaneous retail travel to the downtown area to the north. Here's the hazard. The Proctor Farm is the last high exposure, high value, high revenue impact commercial retail property remaining in the city limits that would foster accelerated city revenue growth. Rezoning to anything other than commercial retail shall hobble the city of Elkhorn's growth potential for perpetuity. This is a one-shot deal. The solution, immediately to the west of the Proctor Farm, is the Immiga Farm residential development, already zoned and platted for over 350 homes since 1978. An Immiga Farm residential development would provide line of sight for northbound I-43 travelers for over 15 seconds. I-43 travelers would perceive Elkhorn exists to the north of I-43, in turn fostering higher potential for downtown commerce activity. Line of sight to the north from I-43 may inspire commuters to relocate to Elkhorn to reduce travel time. An Immiga Farm residential development maintains high potential to inspire commerce to locate at a Proctor Farm commercial retail property.
You have 30 seconds left, Dave.
Thank you. Immiga Farm development is in full compliance with the guidelines set forth in the 2040 plan. I did a quick market analysis also too, comparing homes that are in Mugwanago. And for time's sake, I'll just get down to the bottom line. You abandon the Immiga Farm project, you'll also be abandoning $140 million of taxable residential property. On face value, it appears the city would already stated that it was they're going to be abandoning $140 million of taxable property.
Okay, Dave, I gotta have you wrap it up.
All right. In conclusion, if the city council is not going to stick with a very well thought out 2040 plan we taxpayers already paid for, they might as well just keep stripping out the parts you don't like and see where we end up in 10 years. Just like with the TIF 3 district that I advised the council would end up just the way it did. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else here for public comment? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. We have the council meeting minutes of November 21st, 2022, and the temporary Class B beer license for Warwick County Agricultural Society at the Warwick County Fairgrounds for a dance on December 17th, 2022, 5 to 11 p.m.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on either item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for the consent agenda for both items. Next, report of city officers. Mayor report, it was a very nice weekend with the tree lighting ceremony and parade. Town was full and the weather was good for everything, so appreciate Matt getting the DPW trucks out there and everything, and so people could see all that. And Adam, walking your first parade, and so. Next, city administrator.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off what the mayor said. Thanks to DPW for not only participating in the parade, but helping getting all the streets prepared with barricades and working with PD to have all the intersections blocked. So that was really well done. I know there was a new plan they put in place this year to try and provide better security to make sure that every road was blocked with a cruiser or a dump truck or some large vehicle. So thanks to them for doing that, and as well as everybody who participated. So thanks to obviously the council members who were there. I mean, Alderman Young, Alderman Dunwoody, and I can't forget. Alderman Minell was also there, who helped throw out candy, and then the mayor was in his own special vehicle. So kind of like the Pope Mobile, I hear, but no, I'm kidding. But I want to so thank the alderman who participated, and I know Lacey was there, and of course Carl is hiding probably, but Carl, our park rec director, decided to dress up as the Grinch, and he was more popular than I think Santa. So I'm not sure what that says about us today, but anyway, so I know it went really well, and obviously thanks to the organizers of the parade, it was a good event. And then just also another shout out to the DPW for the holiday decorations, which I'm sure you guys have seen around town. So downtown with all the trees and lights and scenic decorations, and then here even at City Hall, they've wrapped all the garland around the light poles and hung wreaths on. I think any area that can support a wreath has got one, so it's good. So thank you to DPW for that. Just a couple other quick things. One, we do have the HR committee meeting on Wednesday just to talk about finalizing the implementation of our new step structure and wages for 23. So we're getting very close to rolling that out. So we'll just have to talk about a few things. which you'll probably see on the agenda for the next council meeting. We've also been closing out our community development block grant program. So both Matt and I and Corey were looking at a lot of documents from the last couple of years because we had to provide all this documentation in MSA to close that out. So that was kind of our some of our fun last week. And lastly, I'd be remiss without thanking our rec department for organizing the Pet Mayor competition, which congrats to thank you, Hershey, on his or her, I don't even know if it's a his or her, big victory. And but thanks to the rec department for putting that together, raising $300 to split with the Lakeland area shelter, animal shelter, as well as the Elkhorn food pantry. And I know next year we're looking to make it bigger and better to raise more money. So, but this year was just a first time rollout. So those are my updates.
Thank you, Adam. Moving on to new business. First one is discussion and possible decision regarding proposed ordinance number 22-10, an ordinance to amend the 2040 comprehensive plan as it pertains to future land use plan for tax key parcel YVSE 00016 located on the east side of South Lincoln Street across from Deer Road. First and possible second reading. Everybody seen these in their packet? Do you have any questions or concerns or? Motion to move forward, and if anybody wants to do second reading right away, it's up to the motion.
I'll make a motion to move forward.
We have a
And
motion.
skip first reading, go to second.
So the first motion would be to waive the.
Waive the first.
The waived.
First motion is to waive the first. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Do we have any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Do we have a motion to approve for the second reading then?
I'll make a motion to approve second reading.
For ordinance 22-10, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for ordinance number 22-10. Next, we have discussion and possible decision regarding proposed ordinance number 22-11, an ordinance to rezone the parcel tax key YVSE 0016 located on the east side of South Lincoln Street from Deer Road from M1 Light Manufacturing District to B5 Highway Business District and RM2 Multiple Family Residence District. First and possible second reading.
I'll make a motion to waive the first reading.
We have a motion to waive the first reading. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed to waive the first reading. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Ordinance number 22-11.
That is correct.
We have a motion to approve ordinance number 22-11. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for ordinance number 22-11. Next, discussion and possible decision regarding proposed ordinance number 22-10, or 12, I'm sorry. 22-12, an ordinance providing for direct annexation by unanimous consent of electors and property owners of the territory located in the town of Geneva, Warwick County, Wisconsin, to the city of Elkhorn, Warwick County, Wisconsin. First and possible second reading.
I'll make a motion to waive the first reading.
We have a motion to waive the first reading for ordinance number 22-12. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for waiving the first reading for ordinance number 22-12. Do I have a motion for a second?
I'll make a motion to approve 22-12.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on ordinance 22-12? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for ordinance number 22-12. Next, discussion and possible decision regarding proposed ordinance number 22-13, an ordinance to zone parcels tax key JG 700001 and JG 700001B located on the west side of County Highway H and south of East Koopman Lane as M1 Light Manufacturing District.
Make a motion to waive the first reading.
We have a motion to waive the first reading on ordinance number 22-13. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for waiving the first reading. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve 22-13.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on these? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed to pass ordinance number 22-13. Next, discussion and possible decision regarding CSM for tax key parcels JG 70001 and JG 70001B. We have a motion to move forward with the certified survey map?
Matt, can you bring that up on the screen, please? Because I'm looking forever. It's 127 pages.
Big one.
Is this the correct one?
The next one. Yeah, it's that one, Matt.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
It says rezone, but, oops, yeah, it's right there, yeah.
That's this one?
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion to waive the first reading on this one.
We just need a motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve it.
The certified survey map. Yep. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the certified survey map for both tax key parcels. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for the certified survey map for both tax key parcels. Next, discussion and possible decision regarding issuing purchase orders for radio communications equipment for the police department, fire department, public works department, electric department, and water department. This goes on with the new towers being put up, correct, Adam?
That's correct, Mayor.
Make a motion to approve.
Well, we would just like to add, I guess, Matt.
I'll wait for discussion.
Sorry.
Yeah, I gotta get a start. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Now we can discuss.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, when we received quotes, which took quite some pulling because I think everybody was getting them at the same time. For the water department, at the time that we got the quote, it was for 4. In talking with Tim, he would like to see 6 added in order to have a radio for every staff member. So that increased value would go from $9,405.16 to $14,107.74. A 6 instead of the 4.
So what's the new cost? It used to be 575, 292.42. So what's it now?
All right, let me do the math here.
Would you mind?
No, not at all.
While you're doing that, I assume that most of you know the backstory on this, that the entire county is getting a brand-new radio system. With purchasing of land, putting up new cell towers when they do secure, the land for the cell towers from, Farmer Joe or whatever. It's an opt-in countywide or you're out. I mean, those are the towers. I mean, this is what the new radio system is going to be. My only concern with the write-up here is that it says that although the amount budgeted is more than we thought it was going to be, we anticipate that we're going to be paying less due to ARPA funds and the county's $2.4 million of their funds to the local jurisdictions, but the exact amount they're going to give each jurisdiction is unknown at this time. So we say yes, and they're like, yeah, we thought we were going to have 2.4, we only have 2.1 for the pot, or 1.6, or it's more, and we don't know. But in order to order all that equipment and opt in, we have to be on one side of the line or the other. So that, I'm assuming some of you share that concern. So I don't know that we have a lot of choice in the matter. I mean, we have to, you know,
I can speak to that.
yeah,
As, what we're doing right now is, per the contract, is if we don't lock in this pricing today, or by the 15th of December, then the prices could go way high.
sure.
So we're locking in this for 2 years, and some of these prices probably might change a little bit either way. They can't go any higher. They could go down with the amount of purchasing, but if we don't lock in what we think we need today, then we'll be paying extra when we actually go and make. So we're not ordering anything today. We're waiting until, we're just locking in the price.
You have a new number, Matt?
Yeah, I just wanted to
Because,
double
you know,
check my math.
the
That's
fire departments in the county are also working with our Mavis division to write a FEMA grant for the fire portion of it too, so that could, our whole portion could go away,
Right.
other than a 10% match.
Right, but there's also no guarantee you're gonna get the grant.
Right, right.
I mean,
but I'm
anyone
just
can write,
saying,
anyone
it-
can write a
there's
grant.
Yeah, there's a lot of ifs
Yeah,
out there because of
sure.
the county and because of those grant writings, so.
Right,
Like I say, all we're trying to do is lock in unit pricing right now.
Well, and to address your concern, Alderman McClory, I completely understand your hesitation about the sort of lack of clear formula from the county on what funding we would get. But that's part of the reason we included a copy of the county resolution in the council packet, only so you could see that as much information as we had, and you can at least hopefully see that they do have, this is supposed to be on the agenda, I think, for tomorrow for them, but that it does show kind of their three-tiered, plan for, paying $300,000 of qualifying expenses, and then another 300,000, and then up to 600,000. But what they consider qualifying expenditures, they haven't really defined. So, or I should say, with respect to how that's going to impact the city, we don't know. So, I understand your concern, and believe me, we are not thrilled. When they told us that it was going to we were going to have to make a commitment by the 15th, we were not happy with that, but.
Was it the county that came up with the adjusted or the ballpark number originally that we were looking at?
That one we got, my understanding is that like our police chief and I don't know to what extent chief, fire department, got some initial quotes or had some conversations with getting some ballpark estimates, but,
I can give you a little bit of background.
Yeah.
How it all, through the process, when the county, the whole system, I'm talking the towers, the radio, the whole, everything, they negotiated a pricing with Harris, which is the vendor. And they locked in, gave us those prices. They changed the prices a little bit since September. Actually, they've gone down a little bit. So today, all the vendor's looking for is to lock in so many, trying to figure out how many units, possible units, there's also a letter to the county saying that anybody can change their order at any time. You don't have to buy as many as you're quoting right now. So that's the reason they're just trying to get it locked in so they kind of have a locked in number, future number. But the pricing is what they're really looking for, to lock in the price by the county, because the vendor guaranteed the county, if they went with, all the vendors that went through the RFP, if they went with them, whatever system it was, they would set up unit pricing and hold it until the project was up and running.
$579,995 would be the new total.
We have a choice. We're stuck. We got to do it. So,
Will this be purchased in 2023? You're saying you're locking in the price for 2 years. When will it actually be purchased?
Well, my understanding is they want us to issue purchase orders, so it's a little more concrete than just locking in pricing. But my understanding is that we've been told they wouldn't be delivered until '24, and that's when we'd pay for them. So, yeah.
But we have
We don't. It was initially budgeted for '24 in our CIP. So, but again, we've been told that we won't have to actually make payment until '24. So now, am I 100% confident they're not going to ship them to us at the end of '23 and say you need to pay for it? Well, I mean,
Know that.
yeah.
We're just going on what we were
So-
told, 24, but.
Now, given supply shortages and demand, I mean, I guess it'd be unlikely that they'd come early, but don't want to say 100% certain. Chief, have you had any other additional conversations with them?
Yeah, from my understanding from the salesperson that I've been working with on this and the county is, they're not ordering anything until they have a date where they know that the system will be up and running. You don't have to purchase anything till that happens, so you're talking all the infrastructure, the towers that have to go, and that's gonna take a while. So I would say you're not gonna see a purchase in 23. It'll be 24, probably the end of 24, is the projection right now from the Sheriff's Department Communications Center.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Is it, I was just asking Adam, and he says it's the county that pulls the trigger on the purchase, not the city. So does the purchase order prevent the city from facing a risk of penalty or extra, default payment or interest, on a 60-day turnaround or something? If it came in like October of 23, we could not have to pay penalties if we didn't make payment till 24?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think the county is gonna be the ones that do the ordering. Each municipality is gonna be responsible for doing their own ordering and own.
Well, if that's the case, then we have control and we can make sure that it's proper for the 24 budget.
I guess I meant
And
that.
that's it. To me, that's what my understanding is. I sit on the emergency radio committee that's going through this, and that's my understanding of it through even the county administrator was at our meeting last week, Thursday, and they're looking for the quotes. They aren't looking to be the pass-through. They're just looking to be, when the radio system's done, they're gonna reimburse us. But every municipality is responsible for their own purchase and payment and ordering.
Did they give you an idea or a sense of why? I get that we budgeted 126 for police and it came in, it came in at 160, but to be quoted 150 and have your actual quote come in at double that at 388, why would it be twice what they quoted us?
That wasn't never a quote from them. That was just, we were trying to put some money away each year to get to the 24. That was,
The memo says the quote.
yeah, but
It's
that's,
not a quote, it was a guesstimate?
yeah.
My understanding it was a quote, as in they were getting an estimate from the supplier, but I didn't have those specific conversations. Like I know for certain the chief did. I mean, I should say the police chief, his was a quote, because that's where we got it. As far
Mine
as
was
where the
never a
firewall
quote.
came.
Like I said, I
Mine was
understand.
never a quote on how many units we need.
And to be honest, to be honest, when preparing the CIP, we were anticipating this was a 24 expenditure. We weren't expecting that 2 weeks after we approved the CIP that then the county would tell us we'd had to make the order now. So we weren't, how precise the estimate was. We just wanted to make sure it was on our radar that we were going to have to
From my
pay for
standpoint,
it.
I originally thought, from what we're looking at what today's, at those prices at that time, that the fire department would be around, and EMS would be around 300,000. So we thought with a 2-year program in the CIP, we would put 150 in 23 and 150 in 24. So at the end, we had the 300,000. It did come up higher than what I originally thought. So that's on me.
These purchase orders are issued to Harris, correct, not the county?
Right.
That's it.
They go
GenCom.
directly.
So we're through the company.
GenCom, yep. GenCom is the vendor.
I guess I just meant that because we're piggybacking off the county's quote or contract, I should say, that who knows if they're going to ship them all at the same time to everybody in the county. I don't know how that'll work.
Well, and now my other hat for a second, I can't imagine that we couldn't write a purchase order that says that we will only pay for them after January 1st of 2024. We write that right into our purchase order. We've done it a million times at the county, so. And I don't think there's, shouldn't say any chance. I would be absolutely shocked if this project is ready and rocking and rolling and everything's set up by the end of 2023. I just don't see that happening. I don't think there's any chance of that. Could be wrong, but I
You
just.
still gotta build
I just
all the
don't see
towers
it.
and everything, right?
Correct. They've got to purchase land, they've got to, negotiate with farm owners and get their land, put up cell towers. I mean, and it's almost winter, so. Yeah, I don't see it happening in I don't see it, being rolled out, if you will, anytime in 2023.
Because they're actually saying the end of 24, correct? Not,
That would be more.
Yeah,
that would be more
sitting on the
likely.
committee, that I would believe that that's more realistic than 23.
I agree.
If it's done at the end of 24.
So our new number again, Matt,
$579,995.
and You don't have 42 cents anymore?
That went away.
That went away. You rounded up. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve those funds.
Or issuing purchase
Or issue
orders?
the purchase order, correct.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other further questions or discussion?
And am I correct in assuming that you would want that purchase order to protect us in the manner that you described?
Yes.
That's part of the motion.
Yes, please.
Any other further questions or discussion?
Yes. Ward, explain what you just said.
So that he wanted to make sure that the
The
purchase order
January
indicated
1st,
that we wouldn't
24.
accept delivery until after January 1st.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
Keep us posted, obviously, with the whole, what exactly are we getting from ARPA? What are we getting as, grant funding, whatever. Let's stay on top of that so it doesn't fall through the cracks, obviously.
Any further questions? Roll call, please.
Scott McClory,
Yes.
Gary Payson Jr.,
Yes.
Ron Dunwoody,
Yes.
Tim Sharota,
Yes.
Carol Young,
Yes.
Ken Minell.
Yes.
Motion passed for issuing the purchase orders for the radio communications equipment. Last, we have discussion and possible decision regarding proposals from Kapoor and Associates and Foth Infrastructure and Environment to provide engineering services. Adam, provide the memo in your packet. Everybody's seen the numbers. Council members, do you have questions for Adam?
Ouch. That's my comment.
Very good comment. Sure, if you want to come up to the microphone, state your name and.
Good evening. My name is Tom Fote. I'm with Kapoor and Associates, 1224 South Pine Street in Burlington, Wisconsin. I agree with your comment, ouch, and felt it necessary to come in and talk a little bit in person on the rate adjustments. As you all know, and I've seen construction numbers go up, prices everywhere go up, we see that's on the same side with our labor expenses. Starting salaries over the last 5 years, we used to bring a starting engineer on board, $52,000. They're turning down $65,000 and $5,000 bonuses, asking for $72,000 to $75,000. The firms that you'll see if you do go out for rates have been charging those rates for 3 years, and they'll reach out and try and hire our staff. They can pay them more because they're already getting the rates that you're seeing from their rate schedules and our rate schedule, and we have to counter to keep those staff on board with us. So the rates just keep going. Our labor costs keep going up. So we go through, we take a close look. We monitor and track our client needs closely, and we keep track of our competition closely. So when we go through and put these rates together, they're not just random numbers that we put together. They are what it takes for us to keep our business going and pay the labor costs that we have and stay competitive with our competition. So I felt it necessary to come down. I know Mike put together a nice memo describing some of that, but I felt it more required to come down to a personal conversation with you and be happy to answer any questions if you've got some.
Council members, any questions? And thank you. So how would you like to move forward?
I didn't say ouch. Think of that headline. How big a font can you get that on the paper? Ouch, exclamation point. This might be kind of a odd comment to get the proverbial ball rolling, but obviously if we're going to have to make adjustments, is there anything internally that we can do to make adjustments with how the city does business to recoup some of those costs with other projects or developments, or, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, he's obviously saying, hey, I can't pay these guys 50 grand anymore. I got to pay them 75. That's the cost of doing business right now. So, in retrospect, is there anything we can do then to do anything about the cost that, the passing it down, if you will? Just, I don't know, maybe it's not possible.
And I'm looking to Matt for any great ideas, but I mean, the tough thing is a lot of the work that Kapoor does for us is general civil engineering. So I know they're doing a lot of the street projects, park projects.
Right,
You know,
like I
it's
said,
not,
I
it's
didn't know if
not
there was anything we could
a lot
do.
of our, let's say, development projects. So that's just the tough thing.
Right, I just thought I'd throw it out there.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I mean, we do have cost recovery agreements with developers, so those would
Right.
be passed through. But as far as,
But do we have to increase those now to be able to offset these costs that we're getting?
those are T&M, so the bills
Oh,
that we
okay.
receive would be what would be passed through.
Okay, so, all right.
That,
Oh.
they said, yeah.
Set up so that whatever the cost that we get, that's what they get.
Right, right.
For any development that comes in at Taco Bell or whatever, if, as those plans are being reviewed and questions and concerns come up, whatever time Kapoor spends on those, it goes right through on to the developer.
Members, any more comments or?
So in the packet, it also talked about a rough quote from Foth, right? So we had Kapoor and then Foth. So trying to get back to it, the details were a little bit different, so you couldn't look apples to apples, say X engineer to X engineer for cost. And did anybody else have trouble trying to align the engineering costs?
Yeah, and it's tough because they've got different classifications for different types. You know, for example, Kapoor may have three levels of project manager, and Foth has got 4. So it is hard to sort of compare apples to apples. But I will say some of the positions are similar. So if you look at like an entry level staff engineer, Kapoor quoted a rate of 110, Foth had a rate of 121, and that's for like an entry level staff engineer. If you look at the top level staff engineer, Kapoor quoted 126 and Foth quoted 146. On the flip side, if you look at their director, Kapoor quoted 221 and Foth quoted 208. And I'm using the 2024 numbers because Foth proposed to keep their rate increases flat. They were going to give us a 2-year pricing, and so obviously then we have no increase over what rates they gave us now, so that's why I was using 2024 as a guide. But Kapoor's admin assistant rate would be $84. Foth was $60. Foth had a surveying in between like 138 and 173, and Kapoor was around 147 to 158. So it's kind of right in the middle, depending on what level of surveyor. So that wasn't a completely comparable. And then let's say if you looked at their highest project manager rate, Kapoor had a rate of 189 and Foth had a rate of 205. So, and I think that's part of why we wanted to bring this before you, just because obviously not only were you looking at across the board rates like 20% for what Kapoor's were going up for 23, and there's some slight variation with that, some up more than that, some below, but just because they are so much closer now to some of the other engineering firms, just wanted to see how you wanted us to proceed, so.
Expound on that a bit?
Sure, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. So it is, to your point, a little difficult to compare apples to apples. But I didn't see this, and I didn't know this was going to be presented until I got the packet as well. So when I did take a look at it, I looked at their, for instance, project engineer totals. I kind of took all of their project engineer dollar amounts and averaged them, and then because we only had one project I should say project manager. We only had one. They had, I think, 3 or 4. So I averaged those, compared them to ours. I did similar things. They had 6 for tech. We had 3. So in the top 2, I averaged those top 2, the middle 2, and the bottom 2, just to kind of get a comparison, which I actually think is conservative way to do it personally, but it's not exact, so I'm going to admit that. So what I came up with, and then I averaged the all of the categories combined. It came up with a 15% increase. Now, it's not accurate, not 100% accurate, I understand, just because of the apples to apples, but 15%, they would be 15% more in 23, 10% in the next 4 years, because they did have that 2 year. Wanted to throw that out there, just something that I put together kind of last minute, so happy to answer any further questions, Tom and I.
Council members, any other questions?
Just one last thing. I just want to clarify too. Not suggesting that Foth is the only other option. It was just intended to give you as something to compare it to when looking at whether you thought Kapoor's rate increases were reasonable or not, just as another option. So it wasn't intended to say that it's your only option, but just as something to compare to. So.
Would you guys consider looking at, doing some sort of increase, then doing freezes for a couple of years versus raising them every year?
You asked me to check out the crystal ball and see what kind of inflation numbers.
I do it every day. I'm in business too. I do it every day. So.
Yeah, no, it's certainly something that we could take a look at and see. And it would be something that we could give you, a freeze 23 to 24, and then give you a freeze for the rest, or a renewal number, right? Year by year if you wanted to. But yeah, we could do a freeze 23 to 24. We're comfortable with that. We just anticipate the numbers going up, and we don't want to be caught in the same situation we were now, where all of a sudden you get this big surprise at the end of a 5-year contract or a 3-year contract. So, but we want to continue to do good work for the clients that we have. With the city of Elkhorn, we've been here for a while and have a lot of knowledge. We want to make sure we continue to provide you guys that value by giving you that knowledge, rather than having to jump to another firm and have to redo the learning curve.
And that's why I'm asking you to take another bite at the apple. It's because you've been here. It's easier to know the devil do you know versus one you don't. So.
We can, yep.
Maybe I'll put those papers away and not do it.
You're going to fill a paper, Gary.
I know.
That should be your door-to-door proposal when you go for signatures.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So should we need to potentially pause and wait till we actually have something in writing that says they agree to freeze until X, Y, and then in Z they...
I think we should.
Yeah. Is that something you're comfortable with, sir? Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And we don't need a motion, we're instructing staff to continue to work.
Okay, all right.
Please.
Thank you.
Council members are all fine with that?
Yeah, I wanted to
Sure.
say that this is new to me. Maybe I missed something at an earlier meeting, I was gone or something, but this is pretty technical stuff and maybe above my pay grade. I guess I'd like to see an analysis made and maybe a recommendation made to council. So whoever, but.
Are you comfortable with those two firms?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
With some help?
Sure. Yep.
As he's looking at Matt.
yeah.
Do we have a due date?
Well, I think we need it before the end of the year, don't we? So probably before the next council, is that?
So we need it for the next council, I would think.
I would think. Is that, you're okay with that time frame too? Matt and Adam, yeah.
And for Alderman Schroeder, this came up a couple months ago, and I'm just telling you because I don't know if you were at that meeting, but there was a meeting where we were directed by the council to proceed with trying to negotiate a contract with Kapoor, and so then when we got the draft and we saw the big rate increases, that's why it came back, we're like, oh,
Yeah.
so that's how we got to here, so.
I guess I remember we were gonna proceed. This first I'd seen the big rate increases.
We're gonna proceed after we saw the numbers, because he made a motion, I said, as long as it's not crazy, so.
And I saw that and said, okay, this might rise to crazy, but I don't,
There's another one
don't
for
quote
you.
that either, I'm just saying. But-
Okay. We'll get this for the next council meeting. Get it on. Okay, everyone?
Yep.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.